arms work just as hard as our legs. Fire up your triceps.
Your hips are dipping, always the option to come down to the knee.
Not as a weakness, but as a sense of strength, something that's empowering.
Namaste.
Hey yogis, it's Katie. I'm back here today with a fun little hour-long flow that's going to give you some opportunities for a little bit of self-care, little rituals that you can also incorporate outside your yoga mat, hopefully. We're also going to be focusing on playing with balance and hips, and it should hopefully be a nice little playful practice for you to enjoy. So let's go ahead and get started. When you're ready, we're going to get started in a comfortable seat. You may want to sit on a block. I usually prefer to sit on a block. It gives your hips a little bit more elevation, especially if your knees are feeling a little tight. It can give them a little bit more space. So once you get settled in, either on your block or a blanket or just on the ground, start to get out any little wiggles, fidgets. Make a comfortable resting place for your hands, whether that's on your thighs, your knees, palms up, palms down. Eventually letting your eyes flutter closed and start to tune into your breath. Draw your awareness to where your body meets the ground. Feel that sense of rootedness, connectedness. Start to send your breath down to that space. And start to draw your awareness up your body. Feel the tilt of your pelvis, how it affects the feeling of your low back. Notice the gentle curve in your low spine. No need to change it, but just know that it's there. Start to create additional space in between your vertebrae, your ribs, as you work your way up your spine. Let your shoulders relax down your back, away from your ears. Then ever so slightly, tuck your chin, maybe just a millimeter or so, to get a little extra length through the back of your neck. Eventually, taking your attention all the way up to the crown of your head. Then start to envision your inhale coming through all that space you've created, starting at the very top of your skull, down to the base of your hips. And as you exhale, sending that energy back up. Imagining that loop of energy with each inhale, drawing in something new. With each exhale, letting go of anything you don't need. Take one more full, deep belly breath in. And exhale, sigh it out. Start to flutter your eyes open, relax your feet out in front of you, and give yourself a little foot massage. So start to grab one of your feet, doesn't matter which one, rub along the balls of your feet, maybe into your arch of your foot. Usually that's where my feet feel the tightest. If you are a heel striker, maybe your heel needs a little bit of love. You can stretch and roll your ankle. One of my favorite little toe stretches is putting your fingers in between each toe, like as if you were getting a pedicure, and those little nail separators they use. And then just kind of rolling out your toes, working all those little muscles and bones and ligaments in your foot. And once you feel that that foot has had enough TLC, start to switch to the other one. So same thing, rubbing along the base of the toes, right into the arch. Maybe separating those toes again, wiggling your feet. We spend so much time on our feet during the day. How much time do we spend loving on them? Maybe once a month or so we get a pedicure, if that. So start to think about how you can maybe incorporate these little self-care things that take just a minute or two that can give back so much to your body and to your well-being. Once you've finished up with that foot, go ahead and release it back down to the floor. Remove a block if you were sitting on it, and come on to all fours into tabletop. So knees come under your hips, wrists come under your elbows, under your shoulders. Gentle little bend to our elbows so that our arms aren't locked out. Then on your next inhale, move your way into cow pose. Drop your belly gaze forward, peel your collarbones wide, send your tailbone up. Exhale, cat, curl and round, tuck into a little ball. Good, inhale, cow, let your belly sway and expand. Exhale, cat, think scary Halloween cat as you puff up through your shoulders. Keep going with your own breath. Feel free to change up these movements a little bit. If you prefer side body stretch, you can look over one shoulder towards your hip, and then over towards the other side. You can also take big swivels with your torso, rocking in one direction, rolling out your wrists and knees, taking your time, eventually working back the other direction. Use this time to start to link your breath with your movement. Use the full length of your inhale to get to the peak of whatever shape you're taking. Same thing with your exhale, letting go, releasing along the way. We'll take just a couple more breaths here to even out however you need to. And on our next inhale, we'll meet back in a flat, neutral tabletop spine. From here, take a full deep belly breath in, and exhale to downward facing dog. Send your hips up and back. Maybe start to walk out your dog a little bit. Bend one knee, send the opposite heel to the floor. Take a couple breaths, switch when you're ready. Start to stretch out the hamstrings, the calves. Wherever you are, start to scoop your belly in and up. Send your tailbone up and back. Feel the length through your spine, just like when you were seated, tracing that energy from the top of your head all the way to your tailbone. Take one more full breath in your downward facing dog, and a full breath out. On your next inhale, start to look ahead towards your hands, and exhale, walk your way up to the top of your mat for ragdoll. Feet about hip-width distance apart, or maybe even slightly wider. You can grab for opposite elbows or interlace your hands behind the nape of your neck. If your low back or your hamstrings are feeling tight, be sure to take a generous bend to your knees. Let your tummy maybe even relax on your thighs for a little bit more support. If you'd like to find some movement, you can sway gently side to side. I like to think of an elephant trunk. Just let your upper body be limp, head and neck hang heavy. Allow gravity to lengthen you towards the floor. Take one more full breath in. Exhale, release your hands down towards your toes. Shimmy your feet together so that your big toes touch and there's a little sliver of space between your heels. Inhale, slow as you can go, rise all the way up to standing, nice and controlled. Once your head is over your heart, bring your hands to heart center and close your eyes. Take just a moment here to set an intention for your practice if you haven't already. Whatever it is that's going to keep you motivated, keep you focused. Maybe it's that sense of self-care, self-love, giving and growing to improve your own well-being. Whatever it is, take a full breath in, seal it in your heart, and exhale, let it go. Good, one more breath in together, and exhale, let it out. Flutter your eyes open. Inhale, mountain pose. Reach your arms up high overhead. Relax your shoulders down away from your ears. Starting from the ground up, notice how your feet feel in the floor. So all that tightness, tension that we released, has it managed to creep its way back in? If so, start to relax your toes, ungrip them from the earth. Find a little bit of light and energy there in the feet. Then take that same energy up your legs. Feel your quads engage in towards your thigh bones. Hug your belly button in towards your spine, shoulder blades down your back, energetic all the way through the top of your head. One more inhale. Exhale, forward fold. Relax your hands down towards the floor. Let your head and neck hang heavy. Again, feel free to keep knees bent here if we're having any leg or back tightness. On your next inhale, lift halfway. Press your hands into your shins or maybe your block or the floor. Get a nice long flat back. Start to engage your belly. Again, long through our spine all the way from the tailbone to the top of your skull. One more breath in. Exhale, high plank. Plant your hands, step back, top of a push-up pose. Hold and breathe here in your high plank. If we need more support, always the option to come down to your knees. Give your low back a little bit of a break. Really press the earth away through your fingertips, through the pads of your hands. Feel your shoulders puff up like in cat pose, hips in line with our heels and our heart. So if you feel your hips drooping or dropping, come down to your knees for a little bit more strength. Good, one more breath in. As you exhale, lower all the way down onto your belly. Keep your hands right where they are by your breastbone. Zip your legs together like a mermaid tail and press the tops of your feet into the floor. Inhale, baby cobra, Bhujangasana. Peel your chest up away from the earth using just the muscles along your spine and your core, not pressing through our hands. Start to ignite the back side of your body. Press through the tops of your feet. Get long all the way through the back of your neck. One more breath in. Exhale, lower your forehead back to the floor. Inhale, press straight up to high plank if we can. Otherwise, coming onto all fours first. Exhale, downward facing dog. Send your hips up and back. Full breath in your down dog. And full breath out. Inhale, look ahead towards your hands. Exhale, step or maybe float to the top of your mat. Inhale, lift halfway, long, flat back, belly engaged. Exhale, forward fold, relax your way down. Inhale, mountain pose. Use your core strength to reach up tall through your fingertips. Exhale, forward fold, bow your way down, forehead towards your shins. Inhale, lift halfway, fire up your belly. Exhale, chaturanga option this time. Plant your hands, step back, lower down halfway, keeping your elbows in close. Flip to the tops of your feet. Inhale, up dog, lift through your chest. Exhale, down dog, send your hips up and back. Always the option to stick with baby cobra or skip the chaturanga altogether and go straight to down dog. Last time through, inhale, look ahead. Exhale, step or float to the top of your mat. Inhale, lift halfway, long spine. Exhale, forward fold, melt your way down. Inhale, mountain pose. Trace your energy all the way from the ground to your fingertips. Exhale, forward fold, bow down, surrender. Inhale, lift halfway. Exhale, chaturanga, plant your hands, step back, belly stays fired up the whole time as you lower down. Inhale, up dog, feel your quads engage. Exhale, downward facing dog. Breathe in your down dog and breathe out. Inhale, look towards your hands. Exhale, step or float, top of your mat, feet together. Inhale, lift halfway. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, chair pose, Utkatasana. Bend your knees, sit your booty down and back. Bring your shoulders up over your hips. Arms traditionally reach up to the sky, so our biceps frame our ears. But if our shoulders feel tight, you can always bring your arms parallel to the earth or even hands together at heart center. Shift the weight more into your heels than your toes. No grippy toes. If you feel them clinging, maybe lift them up and then gently set them back down. Squeeze your inner thighs to center. Knit your ribs in towards your belly. Fire up your core. Good. One more big breath in. Sit a little lower because you can. Exhale, open twist. Take your right arm to the back of you and reach your left arm forward. Notice if that left knee starts to pop its way ahead of the right. Shift your left hip back to center. Fire up your inner thighs. Start to open from your chest and your upper back, your shoulders. Good. On your next inhale, unwind back to center, one-legged mountain pose. Lift your left knee in line with your left hip. Flex your left toes up towards the sky. Hold and breathe. Find a focal point. Notice how your right foot feels in the floor. Are you clinging? Are you gripping? How can you release some of that tightness and tension? Keep your focus on one unmoving point. It will help you balance. Shoulders down the back, away from the ears. Good, one more breath in. Exhale, crescent lunge, airplane arms. Step your left foot to the back of your mat, sweep your arms behind you. Think about taking one long line all the way from the ball of your left foot to the crown of your head. So your spine is nice and long, your belly is active. Squeeze your shoulder blades down your back, hug your triceps into center. Imagine holding a gift box in between your palms, not wanting it to fall to the floor. On your next inhale, take that imaginary gift box overhead, crescent lunge, sweep your arms up to the sky, shift your shoulders over your hips. As you transition that weight in your torso, notice how your low back feels. If you find you're dumping into your low back, bend more into the left knee, tuck your tailbone just slightly, hug your belly into center. Notice if that helps support your low back. Once again, shoulders relax away from the ears. Full deep belly breath in. Exhale, warrior two. Spin your left foot down, either parallel or about 45-degree angle to the back of your mat. Right knee stays bent, sink low into your lunge. Arms come parallel to the earth. If you notice your right knee passing your right ankle, shimmy that right foot forward so that you're not stressing out any ligaments in your knee joint. Also, if you're looking for more inner thigh challenge, widening your stance is going to help you achieve that. Stack your shoulders over your hips so your spine is nice and long. Arms work just as hard as our legs. Fire up your triceps. Good, one more full inhale. Complete exhale. Inhale, reverse warrior. Left hand goes to your back thigh or to your low back. Reach up first, get long through your spine, and then start to hinge back, taking your right fingertips as though you're gonna tickle the space behind you. Get long through both sides of your rib cage, and notice if you lost any lunge through your right knee. If you did, no worries, just remind yourself to re-engage, sink a little lower. One more breath in, extend and lengthen. Exhale, chaturanga. Both hands come to the floor. Step or float that right foot back as you lower. Inhale, upward facing dog. Lift through your chest. Exhale, down dog. Send your hips up and back. Beautiful jobs, yogis. Full breath in and full breath out. Inhale, look towards your hands. Exhale, step or pounce to the top of your mat. Inhale, lift halfway, flatten out your back, get long. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, chair pose. Sink your hips down and back. Think of an imaginary chair just out of reach behind you. Just like we did in crescent lunge, notice how your low back feels here. So if we feel tightness or tension through our low spine, see what's happening with your pelvis. If you've got a little duck butt sticking out, tuck your tailbone a little bit, firm up your belly, protect your low back, then notice how that feels. Good, inner thighs are active. One more full breath in, sit a little lower cause you can. Exhale, open twist. Left arm now reaches behind you, right arm forward. Notice again what that right knee is telling you, it's not gonna lie. Hug it back to center if you notice that your hips are off. If you want a little bit more challenge for your balance, you can look back towards your left hand if it's okay in your neck. Inhale, one-legged mountain pose. Unwind your way to center. This time, right knee lifts in line with our right hip. Good, hold and breathe. So you want to try to bend your knee to 90 degrees. Ankle comes under your knee, right toes flex up towards the sky. Notice if your ribs are flaring out or your shoulders are crunched up by your ears. Hug your belly in, relax your shoulders down your back. One more breath in, find your sense of centeredness. Exhale, crescent lunge, airplane arms. Scoop that right foot to the back of your mat behind you. Send your arms down along your sides. Good, if you didn't land exactly where you wanted to in these steps back, just readjust, not a big deal. We're not glued to where we land on our mat. Take a little more bend to the right knee. Again, if your low back is bothering you, squeeze your shoulder blades down and together, fire up your core. Good, inhale, crescent lunge, arms come up overhead. Notice how that shift in your center of gravity affects your spine. Make those little adjustments as needed. Even though our legs are not together, inner thighs still squeeze towards midline. Good, full inhale here. Exhale, warrior two. Spin your right foot down, arms come parallel. Maybe we're lengthening out our stance if we want a little bit more inner thigh work, or if our feet need to separate so that our knee can stack over our ankle. Take your shoulders right over your hips. If you have a hard time engaging your arms in this pose, like a lot of people do, including myself, you can flip your palms face up. Imagine carrying heavy drink trays in both hands. Keep that sense of engagement as you send your palms back down towards the floor. Good, inhale, reverse warrior. Right hand comes to your back thigh. Stay low through the lunge in your left leg. Reach up, get long through your spine first, and then start to hinge your way back from your hips. See if you can extend the space in between both sides of your rib cage, not just the left. Good, one more breath in. Exhale, chaturanga. Hands come down to frame your left foot. Step that foot back. Inhale, upward facing dog. Press through the tops of your feet. Exhale, down dog. Breathe in your down dog. And breathe out. Moving breath to movement this time through. Inhale, look ahead. Exhale, step or float to the top of your mat. Inhale, lift halfway, lengthen your spine. Exhale, forward fold, bow down. Inhale, chair pose, squeeze your inner thighs, sit down and back. Exhale, open twist, right arm behind you, left arm ahead. Keep those knees at center. Inhale, one-legged mountain pose, left knee lifts in line with your left hip. Exhale, crescent lunge, airplane arms. Step that left foot way behind you, sweep your arms by your sides. Inhale, crescent lunge, take your arms up overhead, keep your belly firm. Exhale, warrior two, spin your back foot down, maybe lengthen out your stance. Inhale, reverse warrior, maintain your lunge as you reach up and back, get long. Exhale, chaturanga, step or float that right foot back. Inhale, upward facing dog, lift through the chest, engage the belly. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, look to your hands. Exhale, step or jump to the top of your space. Inhale, lift halfway. Exhale, forward fold, let your head and neck hang heavy. Inhale, chair pose, lowest one this time. Exhale, open twist, left arm behind you, right arm in front, hips stay at center. Inhale, one-legged mountain pose, stand all the way up, right knee lifts this time, keep those toes active. Exhale, crescent lunge, airplane arms, step behind you, fire up your core. Inhale, crescent lunge, arms sweep overhead, active all the way through the fingertips. Exhale, warrior two, find that engagement through your triceps. Inhale, reverse warrior, reach up and back, relax your left shoulder away from your ear. Exhale, chaturanga, elbows stay in close to our rib cage as we lower. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, down dog. Full breath in and full breath out. Last time through, change is coming. Inhale, look to the top of your mat. Exhale, journey forward, feet together. Inhale, lift halfway. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, chair pose, sink your hips, sit low. Here's our first change. Exhale, hands to heart center. Take a deep breath in, firm up your belly. Exhale, prayer twist. Left elbow comes outside your right thigh. Good, hold and breathe. If this is too much of a twist in your low back, feel free to come out of it and do that open twist, reaching your right arm back and left arm forward. Notice again what your knees are telling you. Hug that left hip back to center, squeeze your inner thighs, take your twist one breath at a time. As you unwind, inhale, one-legged mountain pose, left knee lifts, stand all the way up to center. Next change, exhale, figure four. Left ankle comes to the top of our right thigh, hands to heart center. As we feel ready, start to sit down and back like chair pose. This is almost like standing pigeon, so it's a big hip stretch. Take your time deepening in as you lower your hips. Left toes stay active, flexing towards the left knee to protect the ligaments in our knee joint. Find again your sense of balance, one point to focus on. So good, be patient with yourself. As you inhale, make your way back up to one-legged mountain pose, left knee in line with your hip. Exhale, crescent lunge, airplane arms, scoop your left foot behind you. Inhale, crescent lunge, arms come up overhead, back to our flow. Exhale, warrior two, spin your back foot down. Inhale, reverse warrior, lower half stays the same. Get long through your torso, beautiful. Exhale, chaturanga, hands to the mat. Inhale, upward facing dog, lengthen through your belly, keep your core active. Exhale, down dog. Inhale, look ahead. Exhale, step or hop, top of your mat. Inhale, lift halfway. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, chair pose, Utkatasana, sink your booty low. Exhale, hands to heart center. Take a deep breath in, engage your belly. Exhale, prayer twist, right elbow outside our left thigh this time. Notice again that right knee, what it's telling you. Also notice the weight in your feet. If you're tending to dump into your left side, maybe try to even out the weight in your toes and your heels and the inner and outer edges of your feet. As your twist starts to deepen, notice if your hands can come more in line with heart center. One breath at a time, you can stay with it. On your next inhale, unwind up to one-legged mountain pose. Come all the way up to standing. Right knee lifts in line with your hip. Exhale, figure four. Right ankle on top of our left thigh. Hands to heart center. As you're ready, start to sit down and back like chair pose. Use your breath. Remember that intention you set for your practice. Keep the energy in your feet, no clinginess through the left toes. On your next inhale, start to work your way back up to one-legged mountain pose. Be kind to yourself. Exhale, crescent lunge, airplane arms, step to the back. Inhale, crescent lunge, sweep your arms up overhead. Exhale, warrior two, stay low in your lunge. Inhale, reverse warrior, reach up and back, lengthen through both sides of the rib cage. Exhale, chaturanga, hands frame your foot. Inhale, upward facing dog, let your belly stretch. Exhale, down dog. Breathe in your down dog. And breathe out. One more inhale. And exhale. Then come on down to your knees. Feel free to take a little break here if you need after the flow. Maybe grab a sip of water, towel off some sweat. So when you're ready, make your way down onto your back for a little bit of belly up core. So we're gonna start with Supta Baddha Konasana crunches. Bring the soles of your feet together, knees out wide as you're laying down on your back. If you know already that this is a little bit too much in your low spine, feel free to take both feet flat on the floor and just do standard crunches instead. Take your hands behind your head or neck, deep breath in to prepare. Exhale, lift your heart up away from the mat. Inhale as you lower, exhale as you lift. Take these at your own breath pace. It doesn't matter how fast or slow you go. If you prefer to go faster, it's gonna get your heart rate up, be a little bit more cardio. If you want to take these slow, it's more about muscle control and definition. So either way, you're getting amazing benefits. Hands are just there to support your head and neck. So we're not using the strength of our arms to lift our chin towards our chest. We're keeping the back of the neck nice and long. Low back stays hugged into your mat. Belly stays nice and tight. Good. Stay with your breath for 4, for 3, last 2, and last one, best one. Take a long body stretch if you need it. Let your belly expand and lengthen. When you're ready, we're gonna work our way into eagle crunches. So if you've ever done eagle pose before, it's just like doing eagle but on your back. Take your knees in over your hips, cross your right leg over your left. You may be able to bind your right toes around your left calf, even if you can't when you're standing, but if not, no worries. Shins are parallel to the floor. Options with the arms. We can do standard crunch arms, just like we had, hands behind the head, or right arm comes under our left, binding our arms like eagle arms. When you're ready, take a full deep belly breath in. Exhale, curl and round knees and elbows in towards your belly. Inhale, lengthen away. Exhale, curl in. So you're lifting from both directions here. Your tailbone is lifting off the floor using the strength of your lower abdominal muscles. Your shoulders are lifting away from the earth using the strength of your upper core. If you notice your low back scooping away from the earth a whole lot as you lower, take a smaller range of motion here. You're not cheating yourself. You'll end up doing more reps that way, and you won't have any low back pain in the morning. You may not feel like you're working yourself right here. Sometimes it takes a day or two to feel these. You might wonder what you did a couple days from now. This is probably it, working those transverse abdominal muscles. We're here for 4, 3, switching to the other side in 2, and 1. Switch right to the other side. Don't give yourself time to think about it. Left leg comes over the right, left arm comes under if our arms were bound. Otherwise, keep those same sit-up arms. Good. Inhale as we lower. Exhale as we round into center. Keep your belly nice and tight. Imagine your belly button magnetized to your mat. Stay with your breath. This is about quality, not quantity. Feel your knees and elbows hug into center. The goal is not to try to touch them or anything like that. We're just trying to lift the tailbone and lift the heart. Good. Stay with your breath for 4. You can for 3. Last 2. And 1. Either long body stretch or knees to the chest. Maybe rock and roll side to side. Give yourself a little low back massage. Last little bit of core work we're going to do on our backs. Take your legs up the imaginary wall in front of you, so feet are towards the sky. Feet about hip width distance apart. In between your feet, imagine a rope hanging there. We're going to do some rope climbers. So with that imaginary rope, you're going to reach your right shoulder off the mat towards your feet, and then your left hand over. Inhale as you lower, exhale as you lift. If you'd like more challenge here, see if you can keep both shoulder blades off the mat the entire time so your core is never resting. That's just an option, not an obligation. Feel free to rest at center if you need a little break in between. Again, stay with your breath here. What are you climbing towards? Envision something at the top of that rope. Maybe it's a cold drink after this, or a nap, or who knows what's in store for your day. Just keep climbing. Good. For 4, for 3, last 2, and 1. Either long body stretch or knees to chest. Take your time stretching it out, maybe rock and roll a little bit. When you're ready, rock and roll your way all the way up to a seat. Good. Again, feel free to grab a little bit of water or take a break as needed. When you're ready, we're going to meet at our mats for a little bit of crow pose practice. So, if you are new to crow, you may want to have a block handy. Otherwise, just starting right off with your crow hands, spread your fingers nice and wide. Fingers wide apart gives you a firmer base to balance on. Plant your hands shoulder width distance apart on your mat. Bend your elbows in towards your body, not out to the side like a push-up, but in towards you like a chaturanga. Create a nice little shelf with your arms. On that little arm shelf, you're gonna start to walk your feet in towards your wrists like you're putting your shins on your triceps or trying to get your knees in your armpits. From there, start to look forward. If you're looking back towards your toes, you will end up in a somersault, which might surprise you. So looking maybe 8 to 10 inches in front of your fingertips so your center of gravity isn't going backwards. Maybe play with lifting one foot, lifting both feet, getting a little bit of hang time. Our block is there if we need it to stand on. If we're a little bit nervous about losing contact with the floor, stand on your block. Use that sensation to shift weight forward into your hands without ever having to go anywhere with your toes. If you're worried about lifting your toes off the floor, think about lifting your tailbone instead. Your feet will follow. Good, just a few more breaths to play here. When you've had enough fun with crow pose, we're gonna stop and roll out our wrists a little bit. You can make little circles with your hands. You can place your palms together, roll the backs of your hands like a prayer. Maybe press the backs of your hands into your mat. However you prefer to stretch out your wrists. And then eventually we'll meet back in child's pose together. So for child's pose, big toes touch, knees come out, whatever width feels comfortable in your body. Knees closer together offers more low back support. Knees further towards the edges of your mat will allow your hips to sink more towards your heels. Relax your shoulders away from your neck, bend the elbows if needed. Maybe rock your forehead gently from one side to the other to give yourself a little neck stretch. Most importantly, use this opportunity to tune back into your breath. Draw your attention inwards. Arm balances and inversions can be very mentally stimulating, which is not a bad thing. It's good to have those little energy boosts. But notice where you're sending that energy. If it takes you into planning mode or worrying or anything like that, how can you bring that energy back to your focus, back to your intention, back to right now? Take a full deep belly breath in. And exhale, let it go. On your next inhale, make your way up onto all fours, tabletop. And exhale your way back to downward facing dog. Full breath in your down dog. And full breath out. Inhale, look towards your hands. Exhale, step or jump to the top of your mat, feet together. Inhale, lift halfway. Exhale, forward fold, relax your head and neck. Inhale, chair pose, bend your knees, sit your booty low. Again, notice that curve in your low back if you need to readjust your tailbone here. Take a full breath in. Exhale, eagle. Bring your left leg over your right and your left arm under your right. For our legs, if we need a little bit more support, toes can be on the ground like a kickstand. Otherwise, maybe toes are floating in outer space or starting to bind around our our right calf. With our arms can be bound, or if our shoulders are really tight, give yourself a big bear hug. Grab for opposite shoulders. Once we found a happy place for our arms and legs, start to shift your shoulders back in line with your hips. Bring your elbows in line with your heart, wrists in line with your elbows if your arms are bound, so hands start to come away from the face. Feel everything pull into midline, like you're stacking your elbows, your belly button, your knees, and your toes all in one plane. Good, one more full breath in, and full breath out. Inhale, one-legged mountain pose. Stand all the way up, left knee lifts in line with your left hip. Good, hold and breathe. Find your focal point. Draw everything into center. Knit your inner ribs towards your belly. Good, one more breath in. Exhale, crescent lunge, airplane arms. Step your left foot to the back of your mat. Sweep your arms behind you. Fire up your belly. Relax your shoulders down your back. Inhale, crescent lunge. Arms come up overhead. Think of that imaginary gift box right over your skull. Exhale, airplane. Launch your way onto your right foot. Sweep your left foot off the floor. Arms scoop behind you along your sides. Think about that baby cobra you did at the beginning of class. All the muscles along your spine lifting through your heart, through your chest, inner thighs hug towards center. One more breath in. Exhale, warrior three. Scoop your arms in front of you. Keep your balance. Back foot stays lifted. Good, core is engaged. Think about a giant uppercase T that you're forming with your body. Hands can also come to heart center if we need a little bit more support. One more inhale. Exhale, back foot comes to the floor. Inhale, crescent lunge. Arms come up overhead. Scoop your arms. Inhale in your crescent lunge. Exhale, warrior two. Spin your back foot down. Good. Sink a little lower into that lunge than maybe you normally would. Challenge yourself to find a wide stance here. Inhale, reverse warrior. Stay low in that lunge. So again, maybe challenging yourself to find a new edge than we did in our flow. Long through both sides of your body. One more inhale. Listen carefully. Exhale, high plank. No chaturanga. Stop at your high plank. Step your right foot back to meet your left. Hold and breathe. Engage your belly. Always the option to come down to the knees if we need to. Good. One more breath in. Exhale, inchworm your way up to the top of your mat to forward fold. So pike up your hips slightly, small little baby steps. Stretch those hamstrings on your way up. Once you're at the top of your mat, opportunity to practice crow once again. Plant your hands, bend your elbows in towards your body, create that little arm shelf like you're gonna stick your knees in your armpits. Look forward ahead of your hands. Play with lifting your feet. Find that sense of adventure, that sense of flight. Lift your tailbone using your core strength. One more breath to play. Exhale, feet back to the floor. Inhale, lift halfway, long, flat back to stretch. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, mountain pose. Stand all the way up, arms overhead, reach to the sky. Exhale, hands to heart center. Inhale, tree pose. Ground down through your left foot. Bring the sole of your right foot to your inner left leg. Anywhere above or below the knee joint is perfect. We just don't want to press directly into that knee. Start to open your right knee up to the right side. Feel your hips, your spine, open and lengthen. If you'd like extra balance challenge here, maybe start to grow your tree branches, extend your arms overhead, or play with fluttering your eyes partially or fully closed. One more breath in, hands back to heart center if they're not already. Exhale, release your right foot down. Feel free to shimmy it out or roll your ankles out if you need to. Inhale, mountain pose, reach up tall. One more time, elongate. Exhale, forward fold, bow down. Inhale, lift halfway. Exhale, chaturanga, hands to the floor. Always the option to skip chaturangas if we want to go straight to down dog. Inhale, up dog if you're taking it. Exhale, down dog. Full breath in your down dog. And full breath out. Inhale, look ahead. Exhale, step or float, top of your mat, feet together. Inhale, lift halfway, flatten out your spine. Exhale, forward fold, relax. Inhale, chair pose, sink your hips, sit low, fire up your inner thighs. Exhale, eagle, right leg comes over our left, right arm comes under our left. So again, opportunity for right foot to stay on the floor for a little bit more balance with the toes as a kickstand, or maybe toes are kind of floating outside our left calf or binding their way around the leg. Good. As you bring your elbows up in line with your shoulders, start to press your wrists in line with your elbows away from your face if your arms are bound. Think about a wall directly behind you that you could rest your shoulders and hips against. Get longer through the top half of your body, squat lower through the bottom. Good. Inhale your way up to one-legged mountain pose. Unwind, right knee in line with the right hip. Inner thighs hug to center. Find your sense of balance. Be patient with yourself if you fall out of it. Remember, come back to your breath. This is just yoga. It's not so serious. One more breath in. Exhale, crescent lunge, airplane arms. Sweep your arms behind you. Right foot finds the floor. Good. Inhale, crescent lunge. Arms up overhead. You know where we're headed. Exhale, airplane. Launch onto your left foot. Right leg lifts. Arms sweep back by your side. Hug everything into center. Find the strength in your inner thighs, in your belly, in your shoulders, along your back, through your chest. Good. Inhale, warrior three. Sweep your arms in front of you. Hold that leg up. Hands can always come to heart center at prayer if we need a little bit more shoulder support. Good. You can. One more breath in. Exhale, right foot comes to the floor. Really good, yogis. Inhale, crescent lunge, arms up overhead. Exhale, warrior two, spin your back foot down. Find that little bit of extra length. Remember, challenging our inner thighs on this side, sinking lower into the lunge. The more parallel our thigh is with the earth, the harder our legs are working. Inhale, reverse warrior. Maintain that deep, low lunge as you lengthen through your side body. Exhale, high plank. Remember, no chaturanga here. Stepping straight back to high plank. Hold your high plank and breathe. Engage your core, fire up your belly, send your tailbone towards your heels. If your hips are dipping, always the option to come down to the knees. Good, inhale, look towards your hands. Exhale, inchworm your way up to the top of your mat to forward fold. Small little baby steps are gonna help your hamstrings stretch out. Once we're at the top of our mat, we're gonna work our way into gorilla. So take your feet about hip width distance apart, or maybe even slightly wider. Option number one is slide your hands underneath your feet, palms face up, fingertips point towards your heels. So you're actually standing on your hands here. If that makes you uncomfortable, take your pointer finger and your middle finger and grab for your big toes instead. Feel free to bend your knees as much as you need to get here. My favorite variation of this pose is bend your elbows out to the side, let your head and neck hang super heavy, and it'll release that tension and tightness in between your shoulder blades, which is where I carry a lot of stress. Good, maybe a little bit of toe wiggling, massage your hands, just like we massaged our feet at the start of practice. Then as you're ready, slowly remove your hands out from underneath you. Shimmy your feet back to center. Inhale, lift halfway, flatten out your back, stabilize your spine. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, mountain pose, reach up all the way, extend through your fingers. Exhale, hands to heart center. Inhale, tree pose. This time sole of your left foot comes to your inner right leg. Again, above or below the knee joint, please. Press the sole of your foot into your leg just as much as you press your leg back into the sole of your foot. Feel that sense of connection. Take that up your spine, fire up your belly, shoulders down the back. Option to add in those balance challenges at any point if you want to. When you start to lose your balance, notice what happens in your feet. If those toes start to clench, if your face starts to tighten, how can you find a little bit more ease here? Stay with your breath. One more inhale, hands come back to heart center if they're not already. Exhale, release your left foot to the floor. Feel free to, again, roll out the ankles or shimmy out the hips or the calves. Good, inhale your way up to mountain pose, reach up tall. Exhale, forward fold, bow down. Inhale, lift halfway, nice long flat spine. Exhale, last chaturanga will do. Take your time getting there. Inhale, upward facing dog, open through the chest. Exhale, down dog. Breathe in your down dog and breathe out. One more inhale and exhale. Inhale, lift your right leg high. Exhale, half pigeon. Sweep your right shin towards the top of your mat so that your right knee comes towards your right wrist and your right ankle comes towards your left wrist. Once you feel ready, starting to work your way down to your palms, your forearms, maybe resting on your block or on your mat. Left leg stays long behind you, including the toes. If you have any knee or hip discomfort here, be sure to see a modification of supine figure 4 in one of my other videos. Notice here if you start to clench your teeth or furrow your forehead. Use each inhale as an opportunity to locate stress or tightness, whether it's physical, mental, or in your emotional body. Each exhale, visualize it leaving with your breath, like it's falling out your mouth onto your mat, resting there. No need to take it with you after this. Now that your body's a little more still, notice if your thoughts start to run away from you. Remind yourself to come back to right now. Everything else will take care of itself in its own time. On your next inhale, slowly start to make your way back up to your palms. And exhale your way to downward facing dog. Release that right leg behind you. Feel free to shimmy it out, get the blood flowing again. Dog at a fire hydrant, three-legged dog. Maybe wiggle out your hips. Absolutely no rush. When you're ready, inhale, lift your left leg high. Exhale, half pigeon on the other side. Sweep your left shin forward. Again, left knee coming towards the left wrist. Left ankle towards the right wrist. Hips nice and square in front of you. Take your time starting to lower down. Always the option to stay lifted as well, or use a block to support your forearms or your head. If you start to feel stuck or stagnant here, what are small adjustments you can take, and what sensation do those adjustments create? So can you press a little more through your left shin? Can your right toes go slightly more in line with your ankle or your knee? How can you find more space through your shoulders, the back of your neck? What about if you separate your teeth? Those little adjustments will not only help create space in your body, they'll also keep your mind busy. And the last few breaths you take in this pose, make them your fullest, deepest, longest breaths yet. Then on your next inhale, begin to walk your way back up to center. And take your time moving that leg back to downward facing dog as you're ready. Again, maybe opening up the hips along the way, wiggling that leg out as needed. Take a full breath in and a full breath out. Then work your way down onto your knees and have a seat if you're new to supported fish. That's where we're headed next. So for supported fish, we'll need a block or a blanket or something you can put underneath your back in order to open your heart. When you're ready, we're gonna find our way onto a seat. That block or that blanket or that pillow, whatever we have, is going to go right along where our bra strap would be behind us. If we're a guy and we don't have a bra strap, I'm sure you can visualize where that would be, figuring that out. So right around our mid-back, along our rib cage. As we're ready, feet can stay on the floor, knees bent to start. Start to lay down onto that block and see if you can take the crown of your head, the top of your head, down onto your mat. So we're opening through our chest, through our throat here. If that's too much opening through our neck, we can always take a secondary block and place it on the back of our head for a little bit more support. Maybe a pillow, maybe a blanket. We can also lower our block to the very lowest setting or make our pillow or our blanket a little bit flatter behind us if we need to. Once you find a happy place, opening for your chest, for your throat, you can let your arms relax wherever they're comfortable. Legs maybe extend long, or feet could come to Supta Baddha Konasana, or maybe feet stay flat on the floor and knees stay bent. It's really whatever is most comfortable for you. Allow yourself to unravel here. So this is a very vulnerable, very exposing pose for most of us. From a primal place, we're exposing the most vulnerable parts of our body. So if we were to be attacked by a predator, our throat, our heart, obviously big target points. Not only that, from an emotional standpoint, we tend to guard our hearts, our love. We tend to keep our thoughts, our words to ourselves for fear of looking or sounding silly or stupid. So allowing yourself this opportunity to open up through those spaces, knowing that you have the support that you need and that you can be safe in doing so. With each breath, allow yourself to feel a little more open, a little more comfortable. Start to feel that sense of vulnerability, not as a weakness, but as a sense of strength, something that's empowering. Take just a couple more breaths here if you're comfortable. When you're ready to make your way down, start to tuck your chin into your chest. If you had a block or a blanket behind your head, remove that one first. Then start to maybe roll onto one of your forearms, remove the block from under your back, and lay down flat on the floor for Supta Baddha Konasana. Soles of your feet come together, knees open wide. Again, like in the crunches, if that's too much on the low back, feet flat on the floor, knees bend, and you can just let your knees knock together at center to rest. So just allowing your back to neutralize, your hips to gently open. Come back to those full deep breaths. Notice the rise and fall of your chest, of your stomach. Check back in with your thoughts. Invite yourself to be right here, right now. Then start to close your knees like a book. Hug your legs in towards your chest for happy baby. So knees come to the outsides of your ribs. Grab for outside edges of your feet or outside edges of your thighs, whichever is more comfortable. Just like a little happy baby in its crib, whatever feels good here. So maybe rock a little side to side, straighten one leg, straighten both legs. Touch your feet together at center. Give yourself a little foot massage like at the beginning of class. Really no rules, definitely no judgment, no should I, am I supposed to. Just listening to your body and giving it what it wants. When you're ready to be still, hug your knees back in towards your chest. Maybe take a little rock and roll, low back massage. And then find a place against the wall for legs up the wall to finish out your practice. So if you've never been in legs up the wall before, we're gonna scoot one side against the wall. You can also use the back side of the couch or anything really that's vertical. Then start to work your way onto your back. It might feel a little bit awkward. You're gonna have a little bit of space in between your booty and the wall or whatever you're using as a vertical surface. You can kind of just press through your forearms, shimmy your butt a little bit closer until you get to a comfortable place for your low back and your hips to be against the wall. From there, let your hands relax. Allow yourself to get comfortable. Feel free to close your eyes. Any thoughts that come up here, just let them float to the back of your brain. Imagine them resting on the floor. You can choose to come back to them later if you want. If not, just leave them there. And the reason that legs up the wall is such a great pose to either finish out a yoga practice or just finish out our day if we have a couple extra minutes at the end of the day before bed. So we spend, like I said, a lot of time on our feet. We don't give a whole lot of love to them. And unless we're a serious runner or we get our heart rate up pretty high on a regular basis, we don't get a whole lot of freshly oxygenated blood all the way down to our feet. So we can start to get swollen feet or swollen ankles, especially if we're traveling, things of that nature. This can lead to varicose veins or spider veins over time. But when we put our legs up the wall, you are reversing that flow of gravity, that blood flow. So your blood from your feet is coming back towards your heart. You might start to feel your feet get a little bit numb, a little bit pins and needles, like they're going to sleep. That's normal, so just try to breathe through it. As that blood starts to make its way back to your heart, when you eventually go upright again, you're gonna get freshly oxygenated blood down to your toes, your feet, your ankles, your calves. This is another one of those great self-care practices. Doesn't take very long, but so good for you in the long run. And if at any point you prefer to push away from the wall and enjoy a little bit of Shavasana, you can do that instead, just for these last few moments of your practice. Feel free to stay here a little longer if you like. When you are ready to come away from the wall, start to push yourself back slowly. Eventually rock your way onto your favorite side into fetal pose, letting your blood flow neutralize. Take this opportunity to thank yourself for taking time out of your day to practice, for giving yourself that little bit of love and self-care. And even when you don't have time for a full hour of yoga, maybe taking those few little moments to give yourself some TLC as needed. When you're ready, press your way up to a comfortable seat, eyes closed, hands at heart center. Take this opportunity to acknowledge your hard work, your breath, your power, your strength, your vulnerability. Take a full deep breath in and exhale, let it go. Thank you so much for taking time out of your day to spend practicing with me virtually online. The highest and brightest in me honors and bows to the highest and brightest in you. So we bring our hands to third eye center to honor ourselves in our practice and bow forward. Namaste. Thanks so much for checking out this class. I hope you have an opportunity to go check out some of my other videos and have a beautiful rest of your day. Namaste.